Hello, friends, and welcome to Brotherly Love Gaming, the show where two brothers talk through the past, present, and future of our lives in gaming. My name is Alex, joined today by my brother Spence.
What's up, guys?
Today's episode is going to be a look back on 2019. I know we're at this point, we're about halfway through January, but I like the year to end before we start talking about the year. I don't like these lists that come out second week of December and act like the year's over. You gotta wait for it to really end. So
get some time to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that we are going to do this, we chose our top 3 games of the year just because it felt like a good number to not be here for forever, and also to talk about things that we really, really, truly enjoyed. We're going to put a time limit on how long we're allowed to talk for those things, though, so we don't just ramble forever and ever and ever.
Yes.
And so what we did was we picked out a really dumb sounding timer that's going to go off when we're done. It sounds like this. It's awful. Sure, somebody out there has. Yeah, I'm sure someone out there has it as their ringtone or something. It's one of the default iPhone sounds. So,
oh god,
sorry if you like that one, but I think it's weird. So anyway, so we're gonna go through that. We're gonna start off talking about any honorable mentions that we have, and then get into our top lists. So
yes.
I guess, want to just say like what my approach to doing this was. I don't know if you have any things that you want to mention like that, but basically when making my list, so I actually every year keep a list of every game that I've played. And in the past, I've used that like for this kind of discussion or just to talk about things when recommending them to people. But this year I decided, even though I made that list, I didn't want to use it to come up with what my top games were. I wanted to just spend time trying to remember what it was that I liked and see what games were still sitting with me. I didn't want to pick something that jumped off the list and was like, oh, that's right, that game was really good, or that game was really influential, or everybody was talking about that game, I should use that one. I just wanted to stick with stuff that I feel like beyond 2019, I'm still going to be talking about, still going to want to revisit in the future. So that's how I approached my list. Did you have anything similar?
Yeah, so basically I didn't even bother like looking at what games I own or like really thinking about it too deep. I was really trying to think of what's fresh on my mind about what was good during the year. So, and it's funny because I don't know if you had said this, but we have very similar lists.
Right, yeah. Basically our list ended up being almost identical. With only 3 games, there's not a lot of room for variation there, but yeah, 2 of the 3 are the same on each of our lists. So
one's pretty obvious, I think. At least one.
Well, I think anybody who's followed us for the year would maybe be able to assume
probably both of them, yeah.
So yeah, before we waffle a little bit too much, let's quick run through our honorable mentions. I guess I can go first. I'm just going to throw 2 minutes on the clock, and I have 4 games I just want to shout out really fast. And I'm going to say as much as I feel like saying while I think I still have time for them. So the 4 games are The Messenger, Control, Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age, and Tangle Tower. Real quick, so The Messenger is on the list because it came out last year, actually, or 2018 originally. I did not play it until 2019 though, but it's like a retro action platformer, basically like Ninja Gaiden, Redux. It's got some of the best movement in any game that I've ever played before, so I like that one quite a bit. Control didn't finish. If I'd finished it, it might have made my list. Basically, sci-fi third-person action adventure game. It tricks you into thinking it's going to be like a third-person shooter from the beginning, but actually you end up getting like psychic powers as it goes on, and you use them in combat. It's got a really just bonkers, wild story. Like the sort of story ideas and concepts in this thing are just like outrageous and crazy. The whole thing takes place in basically like the Men in Black FBI federal building, basically. If you can imagine, it's like a government agency that deals with paranormal junk, and it's really awesome. Final Fantasy XII gets a shout out just because it's like the perfect version of a game that I've played before. I played it on Switch. If you are interested in that game at all, played on Switch, it has a lot of like quality of life improvements that I think make it a lot easier for people to get into, especially tweaks to the job system that I think make it a lot easier to get into. It's not as, you don't have to lock yourself into decisions the way you had to in the original version of the game. So definitely check that one out if you're interested. The battle system aged surprisingly well. That was very controversial when it came out, but I think in this day and age, it's great. Finally, Tangle Tower. I don't know how much time I have left. I played that game on Apple Arcade. It's like a point-and-click adventure game. Time's up. Let me finish this sentence. Tangle Tower, point-and-click adventure game. It's like a murder mystery. It's a little too short. If it had been a little bit longer, if I'd been able to live in that world longer, maybe it would have been higher on my list. But it's really great. And it's on, I think, everything now, too. It's not just on Apple Arcade by itself anymore. So check it out. And that's me. Okay. You got a couple?
Yeah. I got maybe one or two. I don't really have that many, just because, like I said, I can't even remember how many games I completed this year.
Well, how about this? Well, I'll start the timer for you, and you can say as much as you think you want to say. Ready?
Sure.
All right, here you go.
All right, so my first one that I had originally thought of was Devil May Cry 5, mainly because I had just been playing Devil May Cry 4. Super fun. The mechanics feel super smooth. Graphics look great. The fact that you can play different characters is super awesome. Like I said, combat super smooth. Story is very compelling as well. Unlike, for 4 I didn't get that, but 5 I definitely did. Another one, I don't even know if this came out last year or not, but the Spyro Reignited trilogy, I got it in November.
And the Switch version came out last year, so that counts.
Yeah, that's the one that I played. So I steamrolled through the first game and 120%ed it. Collected literally everything in the game. And I'm still just having a blast with it. I guess another honorable mention, just because I also got it last year's Diablo 3 on Switch. I've been playing that a lot recently as well. It actually controls pretty well. I'm very ashamed to say that. I don't think Diablo should be played on a controller, but it is fun for couch co-op.
Right.
And it is fun to be able to play the story on, a big TV, I guess. So that's about it. I don't really have any other honorable mentions.
And we had 20
Does that mean
ish seconds left?
That means I'm safe from the timer. Nice.
No, that's just
no.
That's great. We should have come up with a way to save time or pass it forward. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Diablo 3 console versions. That they were surprisingly, basically, like you said, everybody's like, "Whoa, I didn't know you could do this."
It is, yeah. It's surprisingly good.
Cool. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the top games now.
Yes.
And what we're gonna do is, since there's some overlap, we're just gonna both say what our top 3 are, like our personal rankings of those games, and then we're gonna sort of just talk about them versus me saying my number 3, which is Spence's number 1, and we have to talk about it twice, So that said, remember, these are our personal lists. So before you jump into the comments and tell us that our lists are trash, listen to our reasons for why they are our personal lists. And hopefully, even if you don't agree, you can maybe at least understand why we made those choices. Okay, so
absolutely,
I'm just going to rattle mine off now. Coming in number 3 for me was Pokemon Sword. Number 2 was Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which some may recall I had proclaimed was probably going to be my game of the year at the time that I played it. So we'll get to that. Because my number 1 is actually Kingdom Hearts 3. From the beginning of 2019,
boom,
that one stuck around. So that's my list. Spence, it's yours, and then we'll start talking.
So before I do say mine, I do want to mention that if I had finished or progressed through Fire Emblem more, it probably would have been on my list.
And we kind of
but
had the
because I
same
got
list.
yeah, but because I got really lazy with it, it's not appearing on my list. Surprisingly, my number 3 is actually a mobile game. It's COD Mobile. Uh, I told Alex, and I was like, I'm kind of ashamed of that because it's a mobile game, but I just can't help it. I'm still playing it. I've been playing it for months since it came out, and it really just is going to stick around for a while. So that's my reason. But the number 2 would be, what did I say? Oh, Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is my number 2, and then number 1 would be Pokemon Sword. So we had 2 overlap.
2 overlaps, yep. In slightly different orders. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all fun. So let's talk about Pokemon first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna put, I don't know, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. What do you think? 5 minutes on the clock should be good. We're both gonna be talking about it.
Yeah, because you went for 2 minutes. So
and I sped through.
Yeah. So let's do. We could do. No, we should be good with 5. That should be
a number. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll let you start then, so that I don't take.
That's true.
Okay, and here we go. So tell me about Pokemon Sword.
Pokemon Sword is hands down, now that I finished the game, my favorite Pokemon game I've played ever, and that's a bold statement, right? There's a lot of people.
Really quick and say that.
Sure.
I actually haven't finished Pokemon Sword yet. I'm at the Elite Four, and have just been procrastinating. Yeah. And I wanted to mention that since I said that I didn't want to put Control on my list since I hadn't finished it, but I wanted to make sure I put Pokemon Sword because of the fact that I've been procrastinating. So the game lets me do that, which I really liked. So anyway, back to your favorite Pokemon game.
It is full open world. You got the wild area. It's massive. It's all interactive. You can control the camera. You got a compelling story, fun battles, awesome graphics when it comes to like the animations for the attacks, especially in Dynamaxing. Love Dynamaxing, super cool feature. The fact that it's back to the gyms, I really love the gym challenges.
Right, yeah.
The fact that it adds something to the gym, it was super creative. I thought it was awesome. It really felt good in the game too, like it belonged in the game. And just all the new Pokemon were actually pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. So they did really good this year, and I hope that the coming games are going to be as good as this.
Right. Yeah, my hope with that would be that they don't try to reinvent the wheel again after this one, that they iterate on stuff like the wild area.
Exactly.
Because I ended up falling so deep into that, like I will regularly ride between different dens trying to catch Gigantamax Pokemon until 5-6 hours have gone by, and that's why I haven't finished the game, is because there's just so much else for me to do besides just wanting to complete the main story, which is crazy because of the fact that this game also doesn't have contests or some other sort of weird extra mode you could do, on top of the other stuff. It just has more places and ways to catch Pokemon, and I love that you can't walk 2 feet without seeing something pop out of the grass, and there's just so many varieties,
and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just really great to just sort of kick back, walk through the wild area. Look, there's a Rhydon just walking around.
Walk.
You know what I mean?
No, ride your bike. Let's be honest. No one walks in the wild area. Come on.
To travel in the wild area.
Did I ever even talk to you about how the thing that I was excited to talk to you about was the bike being the thing that you go onto the water with?
Into your surf, yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool to me.
Really cool. I like that a lot too.
It was the smallest thing, but it was just really cool to me. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Now, you don't have to get off your bike and hop on the water and get off. It's just seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's seamless.
Yeah, which is sort of also goes to show how so much of the design of the game is meant to feel open and seamless. Yeah, there are routes that are sectioned off from other places, where there's going to be a loading screen to go through there, but the amount of times you have to go into your menu, to do stuff like that is pretty small. The they tricked me because I didn't think when I started the game that you were going to be able to access your Pokemon box out in the field because they didn't give you that ability right away. But you can access your box out in the field again, just like in Let's Go, which is just does wonders for the pacing of the game.
Absolutely.
Trips back every time, so which also means that like in Let's Go, where I felt really encouraged to try new party combinations constantly. In this game I have a constantly revolving, let me try that one now, let
Yep.
me try this one
Me too.
And I know people complain about the fact that the experience shares it all the time, but I actually ended up liking that because of the fact that it helps me be able to do that. I don't have to be like, well, I got to grind again to get this thing up to a good level because, you know, it's not going to get experience if I'm not using it a whole bunch. The fact that everybody gets experience is actually very helpful, so it seems like they had that idea in mind, as part of the design.
Exactly. One thing I'd like to say is that disclosure is that I do have one battle left, and I don't know if it's the last battle, but it seems like it is, which is why I haven't done it yet.
Gotcha.
So there very well could be more, but there is a lot of post game stuff after the Elite Four, so this seems like this is it, but I'm not sure.
There's our time.
Yeah, we covered pretty much everything, though.
Yeah.
I didn't really. Nice. We could do this.
Nice. We can stay on task. Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. I think I know it was a controversial game. I honestly do believe, though, that in time people will come to see.
We didn't even talk about raids or max raids either, but
yeah, I mean, I mentioned how much I love trying to get Gigantamax Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a game that I think is going to. It's a really great foundation, for whatever else they want to do next.
Absolutely.
And that's why it made my list. Okay.
That's why it's number one on my list.
But it might have been higher if I had finished it, but I don't know. I like the other two games. So why don't you do COD, then I'll do Fire Emblem, then we can wrap up with Kingdom Hearts.
Sure. I don't have much to say on COD, so you probably don't even need a timer.
Okay, well, I'll still give you 2 minutes.
Okay.
Go.
So I really enjoy it just because it brings back all of the old maps. There's maps from All COD 4. There's maps from Black Ops 2. There's a lot of familiar guns, lots of camos. Yes, you have to, pay for some of them, but I don't do that. A lot of them you can just earn through events, etc., playing games. There's a ranking system that works really well in both Battle Royale and multiplayer. Another thing that I've never talked about with COD Mobile was that they just added zombies. Super fun. I played a couple of games the other day as well, which they integrated that really well as well. They made it not like infinite. So in traditional zombies, you would have the endless rounds. This one, you have a set place. You have a few rounds, and then you have a boss round, and that's it. And it gets progressively harder, obviously. It makes it super easy to invite friends, communicate with your teammates. The aiming, everything's super smooth, feels great. It honestly looks really good for a phone game as well. And the Battle Royale, all the maps or all the locations are like previous maps. It's just really good. It's a lot of fun, and it's something that you can really just pick up a game or pick up your phone, play a game, and then go back to your day.
Cool.
So
you did it. What time you got? 15 seconds.
I'm cutting it close.
I won't play the sound that time.
The sound of defeat. No.
Okay, cool. So Fire Emblem.
Yes.
Can I do 2 minutes, or should I try to bump it up for a little bit?
Let's do 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
5 minutes is 5 minutes is for the ones that we both did.
Yeah. All right. I'll make it work. Okay. Starting the timer. Beep. So, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Okay. So yeah, this was a game that I said was probably going to be my game of the year. I guess I could say the reason why it ended up not being, besides for the reasons why I will say that I liked Kingdom Hearts, was that by the end of the game, I felt like really overwhelmed by just how much of it there was. So, but still, like the more that I thought about it afterwards, like it still stuck in my head as like an experience that I really enjoyed, and just the moment to moment gameplay is still just so fun. The strategy involved, um, making your characters the way you want them to be, so that you have like just sort of your perfect team, and you can recruit from other houses, so it all feels like even more personal. And I guess like that's part of the thing that really makes it stick with me is like previous Fire Emblem games. Yeah, there's a whole aspect of characters and the whole aspect of relationships in some of them, but this game really pushes to the limit the idea of forming bonds with your characters and making them part of your story.
Right.
So and the other thing was that like I only did one playthrough of the game. I know a ton of people that are like, you got to play all three houses in order to get the full story. I played through Golden Deer first and felt like that was my story. This was my version of this game. I got to the end, and basically everybody that I wanted to have lived, which was everybody. everybody I recruited lived. Um, you beat the game and you find out like what happens in the epilogue, like which characters end up, getting married and stuff in the future. And it just like felt so like, we did it, guys. Like this was, our moment. We did it. And I didn't want to go back and like, rewrite all that by trying to play one of the other houses. And I think that speaks to the reason why it goes beyond just being like a really great strategy game and being a game that will stick in my head, right on time.
Nice.
So yeah, maybe I haven't played too many Fire Emblem games to really say it's the best, but I've heard other people say that, so I won't disagree. But yeah, it's great. All right, are you ready for?
Yeah.
So, I know we're doing just 5 minutes now, but like that's sort of with the um, context that like we did an hour plus discussion of this game when it came out. So.
It's gonna be so bad.
Maybe nobody should be surprised.
That's also, yeah. I mean,
we haven't rehearsed any of this, by the way. So whatever we're gonna say is what we're gonna say.
yeah. We are not prepared. No, I'm just kidding. We talked about it, but
so let's start the timer. I mean, I can start off with one quick note if you don't have your thoughts collected yet. But I'll start the timer.
I mean, you could just, if you want to go the whole time, feel free, man. You're gonna hit every note that I want to hit, probably.
I would like you to jump in.
I will.
Thoughts,
if I feel necessary, I definitely will.
I'll start it. Starting now. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, just like Pokemon, I know was a controversial game. I know this is controversial too.
Yeah.
The reason why I put it on my list, I don't know if this is the same thing for you, Spence, but was the fact that I spent all year still thinking about this game after playing it. Obviously, if you watched our hour-long discussion video or watched any bit of it, we both really liked the game when it came out, but it was something that I never stopped wanting to go back to. I did revisit it a couple of times. I did a little bit of speed running of the game, and that's not a thing that I normally do. So the fact that just months after playing it, I was like, I want to keep doing that, I thought was really big for me. And I know it doesn't necessarily deliver on every single thing it tries to, but I think after the wait, it had enough of an emotional impact, for me that when the credits rolled, I felt like I had gotten enough out of it, for what it was trying to do. And I know that there's going to be more coming, but like, I don't look at the DLC and be like, oh, this should have been in the game. I'm more like, great, I want to go back to that world. Give me the DLC now, So that's sort of like my emotional reaction to it. Obviously, beyond that, I think it's just a really fun game to play. It's fun to move around that world. It's fun to be in that world. Kingdom Hearts combat still
those worlds,
that universe. The combat is still just like a blast. I really liked. I didn't think I was gonna like Keyblade changes, but when they like mentioned that it was gonna be a thing, but I actually ended up loving that.
Yeah, I did too.
Because you can like match your Keyblade to your style basically of combat.
Exactly.
Like I really like the Monsters Inc. Keyblade, because of the way that it evolves.
I like the Mirage one. It turned into the Mirage stuff, whatever.
Yeah, that's a cool one too. And there's different uses for each of them. And I think it's really great. And Magic's a lot of fun in that game. Magic is kind of broken if you go with a pure Magic build, but that's beside the point.
Speedrunning shows that.
Yeah, speedrunning. Yeah, that's how I learned that one. And I know it's like dumb anime bullshit, but like it's dumb anime bullshit that I like. And
me too. Hey.
And it just like makes me feel good, makes me feel happy. And I think
that's the quote. That's the quote of 2020.
Yeah, like it's just like, well, basically, like, yeah, that's the kind of energy I want to bring.
I feel like any game that is on this list should bring that kind of energy. When by the time you're done with that game, you should feel that exact way.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think Kingdom Hearts specifically is like that's what it strives to do. Like, yeah, any game in general, I want it to have that feeling if it's going to stick with me, but like that's what Kingdom Hearts is about. So
yeah.
And I don't know how much time we have left, but
well, I mean, I could say a little bit. I mean,
yeah, go for
it. The fact that they brought in all new worlds was super great.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Big Hero 6, that world was great. It was super fun. I know a lot of people didn't like the Frozen level. I actually kind of did.
I was surprised if other people didn't.
It was surprisingly fun. Toy Story was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was one that was really memorable. There's a lot of things that people complain about that I really loved in this game, and like the dumb little things like being able to take a selfie, with Donald and Goofy.
Yeah,
like those things are cool. It's like little. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, for me, it's one of my favorite series, and having it come out, like it's more than likely going to be one of my tops every single time,
Right.
So
I kind of feel like when I look back and think about like what was 2019 like in gaming for me, even though it came out at the very beginning of the year, like that it still sort of set the pace for what the rest of my year was like, and set my feelings. Like I finished the game and I didn't really want to touch anything else for a little while.
Kingdom Hearts is the game that I've completed the quickest. Like I beat this game, as Alex knows, in like less than a week. It was like 3 days. It was like 2 days and like a half a night. And I couldn't stop playing it when I was playing it. It was just so good. And now there's DLC coming in. I'm just mad that I have an Xbox.
Yeah, because you gotta wait a month, don't you?
Yeah.
Sorry, I won't spoil it.
Don't.
But yeah, again, it's sort of like, again, a reflection of like why, the list is a personal thing. It's because like this is a very personal game to me, and this is my last thought, so it's okay.
Well, it's a personal game to us,
right? Yeah, I didn't mean to like discount like you're also putting it on your list, but like for as many things, this is my last thought. As many things as I've heard people like nitpick about the game, the criticisms you can have. Some of them I also agree with. Some of them I think are valid, but I can find just as many things that are little details that I really enjoy and that really sell the game experience for me, and that's why I think it is something that really sticks with me and sticks in my head. It makes me want to, go back and keep playing.
Right.
And why it'll be, well, I think all three of these games are something that I'll think about and maybe revisit at some point in the future. Like I said, I don't really replay much. It's kind of Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon are kind of the only games that I go back to after having finished them.
Yeah.
So
I guess I probably should have threw COD Modern Warfare and as an honorable mention because I did beat the campaign and it was really good.
Well, it's too late for that. It's already done.
I know it is.
We did the list.
It's too late. It's okay. So maybe next year, Call of Duty. Yeah. No, well, they're on my number 3 anyways, so whatever.
Yeah, they still made your list in a different way. So that's 2019 in gaming. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. 2019 was also the year I quit social media. So if the fact that 2 of the games on my list were games that had a lot of social media controversy, and I was able to tune most of it out because I wasn't there. Sorry fight the power. Yeah, so those are our lists. I hope that we were able to, if not convince you that Kingdom Hearts is a good game, at least let you understand why we think it's good.
Yes.
But we would love to hear your top 3, your top 10, however many games you think you're going to
deserve a spot
beyond 2019. I want to hear them, you know?
Yeah.
I want to hear them.
I want to know how many you think deserve a spot on your list.
Yeah. But that's going to be it for this one. We are going to do a discussion on 2020, what we think is coming in the future. So look out for that. And
absolutely,
we'll be around. But that's it for this one. So if you liked the video, please like it. Drop us those comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter at BrotherlyLoveG1. We're also on Twitch at BrotherlyLoveG1. Until next time, I'm Alex.
And I'm Spence.
And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Peace out.